Welcome, everyone. My name is Randy Howell with My Trader's State of Mind, and we're here to take a look at impulsive and overtrading and what's really behind it and what you can do about it. That's what we're here to do. And there's really not much house cleaning. The only thing that I do say is that we hold questions toward the end, okay? But at the same time, please ask your questions. And if I haven't gotten to it, and ask them, literally by typing them in. If I haven't got to them one way or the other in the presentation, then I'll answer them then and all the way through. And the other thing I'd also like to thank um, the PTG SEAL team. That's Polaris Trading's. There's an elite program there, and part of their study, part of their eliteness is that they have to actually attend these things. So that's David DeBay's group, and thank you very much. So here we are at impulsive and overtrading. And the very first question we want to really ask is, what's really behind impulsive and overtrading? We're going to be taking a different way of looking at impulsive or overtrading. And by the way, for me, in trading, we call it overtrading, but I look at it, I consider it impulsive trading. So I know that in the trading lingo says overtrading, but in my lingo, I use impulsive trading, so I've included both words. And here's the deal. We're going to be looking at it from a unique perspective. We're not going to necessarily be talking about FOMO, fear of missing out, you jump into trades. We're going to be talking about, we don't understand this force called the emotional brain. But even more than that, we're going to be taking a look at the psychology of winning that you bring to trading and whether or not it's working for you when you're in the midst of the heat of battle and literally you're making the fast decisions. That's what we're looking at. So we're looking at two aspects, the emotional brain and also your psychology, your developed beliefs about winning. First thing is, let's get here. The one thing about trading, people are seduced by the possibility of making money. Recently I was talking to a guy, and this is his coursework was with a very famous, very large trader organization, and he said, something, I was in the first class and we were talking, and they're saying, what are your goals? And practically everybody in there was talking about the goal of being, I'm going to make $1 million, make $1 billion. The first one this, first one that. And what you just saw, it was all about making money. Okay? Nobody was looking at it as, is there something that I have to do about my mind in order to be able to really make that money? And when it comes down to it, when it really comes down to it, it just seems like the way it's presented, that you're just going to start making money. You're going to start, learning these techniques and all that stuff. And ultimately, what it really boils down to, friends, is these programs, a lot of programs, prime you to overtrade. You actually believe that you're going to make money. And then you think, whoa, all I have to do is find the right system. And there's hundreds, thousands of people who have different systems that apparently are profitable. And what you'll discover about me is when I'm actually looking at trader training, I'm looking for guys who actually trade and live. And they're not just teaching, but they're trading, and they actually will show their profit and loss statements. There's not many people like that because it's a big difference. Nobody, though, when they're looking at this, going, the thing is, if I just find the right system, I'm going to defy those odds. They don't really consider what the mind needs to look like in order to be able to trade effectively. And the key, my friends, is this, is what you're going to discover is you have brought the very worst brain mind to trading that you could have thought of in order to be successful. The focus is on money, not on what you need in order to produce the success. That's the key. And you think about, oh man, everybody's going to make all this money. And yet, what you discover very quickly, the rough edges, and brokers don't want to talk about this stuff, the rough edges is that 95% of traders don't make money. The truth is only about 2% of traders actually make money consistently. So you're looking at it going, wow, what in the world's going on? Why am I believing that I can defy odds like this? There's an A+ chance you're not, and yet you find yourself falling into the belief that you are. And this is what practically everybody believes. The thing is, well, something, I work hard, I'm going to really make myself, and I have a winning attitude, and I know that success is not a straight line. I'm used to that. I'm going to bounce around a little bit, I know that's what it really looks like. The key is that success in trading requires a very different brain and mind than the one you inherited from your survival-based ancestors. And this is what no one grasps, and I don't know why. I really don't. But no one grasps is that the very brain that you brought is built to get you in trouble in trading. And here's where it starts. Let's go back. And we're talking about alpha mind. We're talking about the alpha trader, the one that wants to win, the one that wants to make something happen, the one that does not want to lose, the one that wants to be in control. The key is, a long time ago in a place far, far away, and I'm talking just over 12,000 years ago, 15, 20,000 years ago, the blink of an eye from an evolutionary standpoint, men in the hunting and gathering societies that they were part of did some very serious, dangerous work. You're looking at an image of what they would have done. First, if you'll notice, is that there's both men and dogs out there. Dogs and man ended up working together cooperatively to bring down large prey, and that's how we kind of developed the working relationship with dogs. But at the same time, what I want you to notice is those two dudes that you're looking at, they're carrying spears. They're not carrying rifles. They're having to get close enough to that, I don't know if I'd call him a cow or not, that bull, that you could throw it and it would do harm and injury to him. So you're within 20 feet of that guy. And what you're understanding is, oh my God, man, a lot of people must have got hurt. Yes. But at the same time, the hunters were deeply rewarded. And they developed this capacity, okay, that they got excited about the chase. You hear that about the overtrading? You get excited about doing something. The encounter, oh yeah, I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. And your belief that you can win. Okay, and that very mind that developed for survival in the short term 20,000+ years ago, that's the mind, that's the brain that you brought to trading. Now, do you possibly think there can be a problem in here? And by the way, the one thing I used to talk about alpha males all the time, but the one thing I've really got in the way we are culturally today, that they're alpha females too. It's not just testosterone, it's a mindset. But it's the whole focus of and the excitement of the chase, being sucked into that chase. I smell it. I smell it. It's like my dog. Is that I live in a rural area, and I love taking my dog out because right now we have more rabbits than you can possibly imagine. And I am my dog's hunting guide. I show him where the rabbits are, and the moment he sees the rabbit, he's on chase. That's alpha. That's alpha. The same way with an alpha in trading, an alpha in business, is that they see the winning. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. And they get sucked into the excitement of the chase. The testosterone, just the adrenaline, the whole 9 yards gets them pumped up. And then today, what do you guess? Now we have this modern man. And the key to success, so many alphas has made this work. You are still stalking opportunity. You are still making things happen, and you're winning. I've worked in the last 3 days, I've worked with 5 overtrading traders. Every one of them is sitting there and says, Randy, yeah, it happens at the hunt. You know something? I start populating my charts, and I don't see opportunity there. And I'm sitting there and I don't see the opportunity there. And I said, you know something, I can go someplace else and I can find opportunity. I can use different time frames. And those tighter time frames, those shorter time frames. Oh yeah, but yeah, I see more opportunity there, but you also hear a lot more noise. And all of a sudden you realize, okay, it's not in my plan, but I'm looking for opportunity. I'm looking for something to chase. The very things that ensured survival of the communities of this alpha, risking life, risking that, really putting it in line with its energy, now doesn't work. It doesn't work well. But the thing is it's built into us. This is biology, friends. This is not psychology. This literally is the biology that you bring to trading, particularly if you have been in business, if you've been in corporate, you've done well, you've been successful, you've got the winning mindset, that type of thing, and you come to trading, and those are the ones who blow up accounts. Those are the ones who, I mean, it's very common for me on the small side have blown up $50, $100,000, but on the larger side, 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million. And it's all because they don't want to be wrong. They want to be right. They want to make things happen. They want to win. And that attitude is what's getting them in trouble. And then we'll take my favorite 007 character. Then we go to the psychology of winning. And this whole thing it becomes something where make things happen. I'm a winner. I'm this testosterone male. I can handle the risk. You get it? How many of you would describe yourself as the alpha? You would know that is that you've been in business, you've done that, and you've produced the success by being able to force your will, by really being focused on winning. And when you get into trading, you're the one blowing up accounts. Okay? You're the one blowing up accounts not because you get scared in the trade. It's getting into trades that you wish you had never gotten into. So there you are, you're this alpha. Okay? And again, the very traits that brought you success, they turn against you. And here's what you discover. In the same way, the alpha, from an evolutionary natural selection standpoint, stalked. That's not the way it works in trading. You ambush. In the same way that you made things happen, you went out looking for prey, looking to make things happen. Yet in trading, consistently profitable traders are enormously patient. They're not sucked into trades outside of their plans. Oh God, this looks really good. Boy, I could be doing that, man. While I'm waiting for my stuff to even show up as a setup, there's all these other things that are going on. I can make some money. Do you hear that? It's the connection between money and success and getting and putting food on the table for your clan. That's how built it is. And then worse, instead of a focus on winning and successful trading, there's a focus on performing in the moment. Okay, you realize that you do not have control over outcome. You do not have control over winning or losing for that matter. What you have control over is the mind that you bring into the moment of performance, particularly the one under stress. Yet, you see this picture of this young tyke all the time. I'm a winner. This alpha is so focused on winning. And understand, the problem here is that appears that you can, in fact, control winning in a lot of other areas. Like in football, the team that I follow, they want to dominate you. They want to run at will. They want to dominate business. They want to win by domination. In trading, that can't be done. That illusion is popped. And then you realize, okay, golly, well, I can't control outcome. I can't control being right or wrong. And I can't make things happen. And of course I'm going to be wrong a bit of the thing. It's not like I can just not be wrong. I can't just hate losing. I'm going to spend a good bit of time losing. Matter of fact, I need to become a consummate, excellent loser. So I keep those losses small. This is just absolutely so different than what defines the alpha. Then in trading, they bring in that need to control outcome, that being right, that making things happen and not being wrong. They bring that into trading and they discover it's dangerous. Boy, this really goes against the crawl when you get the alphas, when you start getting my whole life I've been taught to win. And now, Randy, you're telling me winning is dangerous. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. And here you go. The need to seize opportunity and the urgency to act, the very core of an alpha winning, are now misplaced. But that need to seize opportunity, and remember, in an alpha, you can get an alpha to actually be in the state of mind, into what I call trader state of mind, a state of flow in the zone. And literally, the moment that they start populating their charts, they are distracted from the plan that they have built, and they start looking for opportunity outside of their plan. And it's a biological problem, okay? And this is what leads to the impulsiveness to jump into trades that look like opportunities, but they're outside of your trading plan. And the moment that you step outside of that trading plan, your trading plan is literally, I'm taking this and I'm taking this standard practice of the way I'm going to do something. And over time, that trading plan has given me an edge in probability when I apply it to randomness. And if I keep following that plan, I'll have that edge. And what happens is I win a good bit of the time, and my winners are bigger than my losers, and I make money. Yet the moment that you step out of that trading plan, planning what you trade, trading what you plan, suddenly what you're doing is you're giving the house all the odds. And yet you're seeing opportunity, but what you're really seeing is a caveman, okay, having a certain lust to act now to take advantage of opportunity. But it's so different. They didn't really have a plan like that. And the to-do list to win. And in the excitement of this moment, the alpha sees opportunity outside the plan and takes it. You're sitting there, this overconfidence bias. And what happens with the overconfidence, and by the way, that's actually, it's really a bias. That's a subconscious. And it's literally having greater confidence in your judgments than the objective accuracy of those judgments. And how many alphas in here, how many overtraders, impulsive traders in here have gone in thinking, boy, this is a really good idea. I'm going to make a lot of money, that overconfidence bias, and ended up like this cartoon character. What was I thinking? What happened? That's the overconfidence bias. That's the plague of the alpha, is that overconfidence works so well as James Bond on the Hollywood. It works so well in the boardroom. It works so well in the sales arena. But when I took it over here into trading, it didn't work well at all. The trading gods are just different. So we look at this, and here's the key that what we really want to look at. This is where the rubber starts meeting the road, is you do not see reality. You do not see the truth. What you see when you look at the market is actually a representation that the brain has created from sensorial information filtered through your beliefs and your biases and assumptions, which a lot of them you don't even know you have. Okay? And what happens is, out of those beliefs, you see what you see. And the alpha believes he's going to win, despite the fact that when you take a look at trading, a good trader, if he's winning 50% of his trades, boy, that's a good percentage. But at the same time, what you're seeing is his winners are twice as large as his losers. A lot of quite profitable traders are winning around 40% of their trades and are profitable. So you're beginning to see that, okay, The truth is that this is really about managing my losses and managing my wins. That's really what it's about. And then having a good system, a set of beliefs that allow me to stay in the picture, to be able to see a symbolic representation that I'm able to extract capital out of the markets at a greater rate than I'm giving it back in. You see that in your trading account. And my promise to you is this: in terms of your beliefs, in terms of the the truths that you have about trading, is the only arbiter is your trading account. You can talk the talk all you want with people, you can discuss and argue theory, but ultimately this is about, over time, how effective are you about growing that trading account. It will tell you whether or not the beliefs that you hold and then project, and by the way, it's not like these are beliefs you chose. You were born into these beliefs. They absolutely had already gone in and created you before you could ever think. And you're using those and projecting those as if they're telling you the truth. And in the objective reality of the trading account, you're finding out whether or not your beliefs are effective or not in being able to extract capital out of the markets. This is a big deal. And what most traders discover is they discover that their beliefs, and mostly these are unconscious beliefs at the level of the limbic brain, are not the beliefs that's going to produce success in trading. They have to retrain those. And I can tell you these 4 beliefs. This is no rocket science. Everybody tries to hide them, but it's a sense of inadequacy. I'm just not good enough. A sense of mattering. I have to make a lot of money to matter. A sense of worth. I don't really deserve making easy money. Or a sense of powerlessness. Oh my God, it's going crazy. I'm going to go crazy too. And if you've ever gotten into a trade, it turned against you and you went nuts, you know that powerlessness. Those are the 4 that shape the beliefs that you then project onto the reality of the trading, and you get to see the effectiveness of it in your trading account. So, my question is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about this brain of yours that you brought from prehistoric times that has changed little, that's wired to want to control the environment, control outcome? It wants to be right, and it does not want to lose. And besides that, then it wants to be able to predict what's going to happen. And you bring it to trading and you discover, wow, unfortunately, you can't control outcome, and you being right has nothing to do with anything. And basically, you can't predict anything. You have probability. And what you're doing is working with probability. It's like weather forecasts are better than that. And the key is wow, how do we retool that? And you look at Plato. And this guy lived a long time ago, and here he is. We can change our reality by changing our mind. And that's where we're here. It's that the good news for you is that the brain that you brought to trading, no, it's not going to work. However, we have neural plasticity on our side. We can literally change our brain, and by changing our brain, we can change the mind that engages uncertainty. Yeah. We're not stuck with the beliefs that we keep projecting, even though most of us refuse to give up those beliefs because it's so comfortable, it's so familiar, and we keep getting the same losses that they keep telling us the beliefs are ineffective, but we don't want to believe the evidence that our trading account's telling us. But here we go. The thing is, it's not your fault. This is just simply what you inherited from evolution. However, it's your responsibility if you're going to become successful in trading. We know that the brain just simply is not going to work in trading. And you're going to have to change how the alpha hunts or go extinct as a trader. And my question is, which do you prefer? Do you prefer extinction and understand the life of a trader is about 3 years, and what they do is they burn through their capital, and most of the time they come into trading with too little capital anyway. But if they come in with adequate capital, they still burn through it because they want to believe what they want to believe. They don't want to believe what the market's forcing them to say, look at this, change your beliefs about the way you can manage reality, or what Mr. Plato was having to say. So we know it can be done. And here's where it starts. The alpha mind is actually an adaptation, okay? It's there because it was successful. It is not you. I want you to take a look at these two animals. One is the African lion. The second is the North American cougar. Both are apex predators. But what I will say is the African lion on the left is far sexier as a symbol than the American cougar on the right. You know, when you look at alpha, you find lions. When you find courage, you find lion symbols. When you find rulers, you find lion symbols. And this guy looks pretty majestic going after this water buffalo, doesn't he? How many times have you seen a cougar as a representation of a ruler, of courage, of a warrior? Not often. However, what I want you to recognize, both these guys are alphas. They're just adapted for different environments. If you took that African lion, and what I want you to notice is those horns on the bison, the water buffalo he's about to attack. It just so happens that lions get gored by buffalo, by gazelle, and they get hit in the face by zebras with their back feet. There's a lot of attrition. There's a lot of heavy-duty losses. And the way they compensate for it is they keep breeding, they keep breeding, they keep producing more and more and more to keep the size of the pride up so they can hunt and take and sustain the losses that they do. Okay? And it's a way that they've, with their environment, with their growing environment, the carrying capacity of the land, this is a model that worked. Now on the other side, you see the cougar. The cougar hunts completely different. The cougar doesn't go about stalking prey. Its major prey is deer, white-tailed deer. And what it does is it's an ambush predator, not a stalker. It climbs a tree, hangs out on a limb, right over where the deer come as a habit, and waits very patiently until the deer is in the trap, and then the cougar comes down, snaps the neck, the deer drops to the ground dead, and there's no big fight. There's the chance of injury, of loss, is also slight. And if the deer gets up and runs away, does the cougar chase? No. He takes it as a loss, climbs back up the tree, and waits again for the next opportunity to arise. Or rock, yeah, that's true. They also will be on cliff edges and things like that. Anything that allows them to be able to hide and wait in a place where, you know, deer are going to congregate and have to move through. That's the way they hunt. That's the way they hunt. Very successful. Now, if you took that African lion and put him into the American forests, he would not be successful. My guess is if you took the American cougar, a lion also, and put him into the African savanna, he would not be successful. You'd have to compete with that big cat right there. And so what you're looking, though, is you're looking at two alphas that have adapted themselves to certain environments. This is where I want you to understand is that you need to evolve. Is the alpha the model that we use for alpha is more like this lion, where I'm the dominant guy, I control, I dominate, I win, all that stuff. And at the same time, you realize, oh boy, they take heavy losses. And it just so happens that trading is not in an environment where that way, that psychology of winning works. Yet at the same time, you realize, okay, I'm more of an environment like the cougar operates in. Can I start matching up the alphaness of the cougar, okay, to that of my trading? This is the difference between chasing, which that lion is doing, and ambushing, like that cougar is doing. And the question is, are you willing to step out of your arrogance or your ignorance and go, you know something, this stalking business, looking for opportunity, making things happen, is not working well for me at all. And I can see, you know, I hear all the stuff where the patience is the major tool of success in trading, and you begin to see, wow, this is the way it is. The question really becomes is, how do you do this? Okay? What I've done so far is I'm defining this problem, and this is very specific. This is not for fear-based traders. We're talking about guys and girls who are, you know, that they're the alphas, they're the winners, they're the ones. We're looking at those people before they get traumatized so much they have fear. They're still going in and thinking they can win and make winning happen. And here's the key is once we realize that doesn't work, how on earth do you go about changing? Practically everybody I know has tried the NLP, they've done visualizations, they've done affirmations, they've done cognitive restructuring, they've done all sorts of different things where they play games with themselves, but they're not getting at the limbic realities. You're not going to train the subconscious mind by constantly repeating positive affirmations. Feels good. The problem is the moment that you put the brain under stress, you're going to go back to the primitive beliefs that drive survival performance. That's what you have to change. So ultimately, what we need to do is we say, how do we go about working with this? And it just so happens that I've developed a process that we've found very successful. Part of it's emotional regulation, of where you're actually going in and regulating the emotion, that urgency to act, okay? Because if you can't get that urgency to act, that need to chase, you're never going to get to the mind anyway. You're going to be stuck 20, 50,000 years ago, and you're not going to get past that, and you need to get out of trading before you hurt yourself. The second thing is we're going, okay, we've learned how to regulate the emotion. Then mindfulness, how do I actually recognize that my thoughts and I are not the same? My beliefs and I are not the same. And even more than that, I can reorganize the deep limbic beliefs that I have about managing uncertainty. Whoa, if I know what those beliefs are. That's the third thing, is you start finding the self-limiting beliefs. The beliefs, and they're literally are the beliefs you have. They're probably not conscious on your level, literally about your ability to manage uncertainty. And I'll give you to you this way, is a friend of mine went to the Vietnam War. He was a Southerner, and he got drafted, and they were in boot camp, and he was scared. He you know, they were going to Vietnam, and he'd heard all the stories, and then he met some guys from New Jersey, and they were just really bravado and stuff like this, and rah, 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 and just mouthed their way, and they went through basic training and stuff like that. They go to Vietnam, and once they got past all the talk, when they started going out on patrols, it was the guys from New Jersey with the big mouths who just absolutely fell apart. The guy that my friend said, you know, what happened is we realized that, well, we had to hang together to survive it all. And he had a totally different belief. But the thing is I want you to look at it. They had a belief about their ability to deal with uncertainty that on the surface, on the conscious level, without stress, The guys from New Jersey, and I'm not picking on New Jersey in particular. I mean, it could have been a Southerner doing this. The thing is on the surface, it seemed like they were brave and they were tough and they were strong, but you put them under stress and they fell apart. The fourth thing is you start developing the God-given internal strengths living within you. The truth is that you are one particular organization of a self, of a potential self. And it was for survival. It wasn't for probability. And the truth is you're going to have to learn how to go in and find these kind of this hidden potential living within you. And you're going to have to learn how to pull it forward so that it's stable under stress. That's the operative word, friends. Under stress. Almost anybody can pull up feelings in a yoga studio with everything's safe. No, we're talking about pulling up a certain set of feelings that lead to a kind of mind under the conditions of combat, under the conditions of uncertainty, risk, and limited timing. That's what we're talking about. Then, when you learn those, the fifth thing that has to be learned is managing the mind that trades. It's not like you can just develop the strength. It's not like you can just find the self-limiting beliefs. It's not like you can just regulate. No, you have to learn to actually manage the mind on a continual basis that you bring into the moment of performance. Every performance artist, whether it's a football player, a baseball player, or whatever, are on a stage, that's what they're doing, is they're managing the mind they bring into that moment of performance. And they have to get past the internal struggle. It's tough. So there we are. Those are the 5 things we're going to look at. First place, we need to disrupt this urgency to act. We hear that knock of the money. Oh my God, the money's there. I've done the math. You size this thing up. My goodness gracious, there's a lot of money to be there. And all I can tell you is, boy, that's seductive. And all I can tell you is the evolving trader cannot allow themselves to get seduced by the allure of big money. Yet they do, and you'll probably do it tomorrow. But what happens is we want to teach the body how to calm down as it starts approaching a target of interest. What does that look like? We'll take the chocolate sundae first, okay? What we're doing is we're saying, how do you stop the animal, the caveman in you, from jumping and just absolutely going for impulse? Because understand this, your brain is designed that the very moment that it encounters uncertainty, the brain triggers to vulnerability. And this is the magic moment, friends. At vulnerability, which just flips the brain out, the natural route that has been designed by natural selection is fight flight. You would know that by aggression, by jumping into trades. You would know that by fear, not being able to pull the trigger. You would know that by freaking out when the trade goes against you. You would know that by revenge trading. You would know that by a lot of names. But the thing is here it is that by your breath, by your muscle relaxation, because breathing and muscle tension are both parts of an emotion. If you can disrupt those 2 parts of the emotion, what you're doing is you're disrupting the arousal of that motion so that it never hits the flip switch and becomes chemistry, feelings running through your body, altering the way you think. So this can be done, friends. This is the first part of my training, and it's one that you just have to retrain. Most people were never taught to be able to regulate fear or aggression. You end up acting on it, or you're ashamed of it. It's there, and so you don't learn to manage it. That's the first step. The second step is mindfulness. Is you have to develop that, and most people have that sense of like that third eye, where you get that sense of observing that you're both a participant in trading, but also an observer of your trading. And that's a George Soros quote. What he said is, I'm both a participant and observer of trading. And what happens is I've learned how to work the observer and the participant so that they're very close together. What we're looking to do, we want to catch the urgency to act before it takes over rational thinking. And and for alphas, this is a tough thing because there is this moment of literally where you are populating your charts, and that natural hunter in you, that stalker in you, that caveman in you starts looking for opportunity, particularly if you're not seeing immediately opportunity from the plan you've already established. And it makes you feel good. It makes you feel powerful. You feel that rush of adrenaline. But we need to be able to see it and disrupt it before then. We need to observe that going on inside the mind. That's mindfulness. But it's more, because with mindfulness, you begin to actually say, let me take a look inside the mind. And this is a scene from the Pixar Disney film Inside Out. And they depict exactly the way emotional programs build the mind that a little girl has, then goes out and acts. And the storyline is that dad got a big promotion. They lived in Minnesota in the country. They were very happy and moved across the country to Silicon Valley. And what happened is the little girl had to leave all her friends, and she was sad, but her family did not allow sadness. She was always supposed to be happy, 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 happy. And so what she did is she pushed the sadness away, and everything blew up. The key is the brain, as you understand it, can be seen as a community of rival programs that literally have duked it out for control. What you're looking at in this particular scene is the primary emotional programs are literally duking it out for control. You see the red anger, you see in the green, you're literally looking at disgust. The blue-haired girl is joy. She's not too joyful right now. In the back, that weird-looking dude is anxiety, and the blue-faced, overweight character is sadness. They're all jockeying to who's going to control the control switch that controls the girl's mind. Friend, and what happened is what you're going to discover is that you have not been in control of the mind that you've been bringing to trading. That is the big deal. And this is really more like what's happening. Once you grasp that all thinking is emotional state dependent, when you take a look at this graphic, you start seeing it. You've seen the emotional brain just beat the slop with a bat out of the thinking brain. And now he's saying, it's all right now because I've beaten up the thinking brain. Bet the house. What you're getting is under stress, that primitive emotional program is going to take over for aggression or fear, and aggression is the problem with the alpha. So you have to learn to observe it and regulate it. That's job one, man. This is where you realize that a lot of times, a lot of traders bring a mind that's unfit to trade. They've already beaten up the thinking brain. And what happens if they're already in either lust or they're in this urgency to act, and they start doing things like taking action. That's what's happening with the human doing the dialing. And then, friends, then that brain produces a mind. And the way I like to conceive of mind is that the mind really is a committee, okay, where these emotional programs are given voice. And what you discover as an observer is that you have been asleep, either through your arrogance or your ignorance. And you wake up and there's a power struggle going on. Look at this photograph. You're taking a look at two alphas staring each other down. Meanwhile, everybody else at the boardroom is just going, well, okay, this is going to be interesting. One of those guys is figuring out, oh my God, I've been asleep. I need to get my act together. I need to reorganize the mind, this committee of the mind, into an effective force for managing probability, not survival. that's when we do it, okay? That's what you know. And it's like in trading, you know what the rules are, but what happens? You can't do it. Impulse happens, it takes it away. That's an unruly mind. That's a sure sign that your mind is not managed very well. And the question becomes is, how do I go about reorganizing that mind? How do I, first of all, what would it really look like? What would that actually look like? Well, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Have you ever had this experience in a moment of self-doubt or temptation? You just get this, look at this opportunity. Take this opportunity before it gets away. That other opportunity's not there. Take this opportunity. It's here. It's here. Take it now. Take it now. It's going to make money. You don't hear the part that says, hey, this isn't in our plan. This isn't in our plan. We need to slow down. We need to slow down. What you're looking at here is what I call the inner critic. The inner critic can show up as a temptation. Take it now, take it now, take it now. Or it can show up as a judge that criticizes you, that says you're stupid. And once you make the mistake, then it really pounds you. But that's happening inside your head. That's actually a player in the committee of the mind that you don't want to see. And what you've done is by not wanting to see him and kind of just saying, I'm not going to even see that part, I'm going to think positive. What you've done is you've given the inner critic living within you enormous power. And it's highly destructive. And before you know it, there you are, you're trying to make up for prior losses, you're making revenge trades, you've jumped into trades, you've lost money, and you're trying to make the money back. And, it's crazy. That, my friends, is a mind ruled from the position of the inner critic and the orphan, your fear, or your need to prove the self. But ultimately is this. And with alphas, I want you to hear this. Behind the aggression of that alpha is the need to prove the self. And what you're going to discover really quick is this, is that most people want to turn toward the light and feel how glorious it is. There is more enlightenment. There is more rebuilding of the mind by turning to your fears. Turning to your fears, okay? Than there is by turning toward the light. When you turn toward their fears, that shadow of yourself, you learn what is making you tick in your darkest hours. When you keep doing the same stupid thing over and over again and you know better than that. You know better than that. You just can't seem to stop you. No amount of light, no amount of affirmation, no amount of you declaring that I'm a child of the light or I'm a disciplined trader is going to solve the problem that there is a demon stalking you that if you don't learn to deal with and master is going to continue to master you. Okay? This is what I call giving the trading gods so much power over your worth. Okay? But this is the orphan nature hidden behind your alpha. And it's there, friends. It's just part of it. That's the bad news. The good news, the very good news, is that there is a heroic nature living within you also. It's a hidden strength. And it's kind of like an iceberg. You obviously don't see a lot of the hidden strength living within you. It's there, and you're going to have to find it. You're going to have to learn to find a way to be able to dig down and find some parts of your emotional programs that just simply weren't taught you. They didn't learn how to pull up during stress. You're going to have to learn how to pull them up under moments of stress. And this is where you really need to access them to be able to create the mind that engages uncertainty, risk, and time. Okay? This is the challenge, friends. This is the challenge that every alpha, every trader really has, is going about redeveloping, redeploying the mind that you bring to trading. The old one's not going to work. We know how the old one was built. We know. And ultimately, we're looking at this going, wow, well, how does this work? I'll tell you how it works. Living within you as emotional programs, as electricity, going through an organic substrate, that give rise to mind. Within mind, there are symbolic representations that are known as archetypes. And this movie, Lord of the Rings, was one of the best I've ever seen as archetypes. You know, when you look at this, there's Frodo in the middle, an unsuspecting hero, but he had enormous courage. He had innocence. He had a lot of the tools, but he had to have a lot of help. He had Aragorn. He had Gandalf. He had nurturers who helped him. He had warriors that helped him. He had a lot of things. And within it, the mind, if you saw that movie as a composite mind, you discovered that there was the discipline of a ruler. There was the courage of a warrior. There was a self-soothing of the caregiver, and Sam may have been that caregiver to Frodo, okay? And the impartiality of a sage. All were necessary to bring the mind that needed to be there in the moment of trial, in the moment of stress. And they were able to do it. This is your heroic nature that you have to develop and you have to call into action. It's the duty. And this is something that everybody can do this. Okay? Just about everybody. If you happen to be bipolar or OCD, maybe you can't. But the thing is if you're typically human, it's possible you can do this, but you're going to have to do the work of reorganizing the mind that you bring in the moment. It's really the challenge of engaging uncertainty will not change. Your brain's organized to experience the vulnerability and just shoot toward fight, flight, aggression, or flight, okay? However, what I want you to think, this is George Washington going over the Delaware, and he's about to do a surprise attack on Christmas Day with a bunch of Hessian soldiers, and they're going to win the day. It probably had more to do with them winning the war. George Washington was 6'5" back in those days, so he's already that big leader. Everybody believes him. He's deploying his troops. He's deploying what his generals said. He's got warriors. He's got the ruler. He's got the wisdom that the French gave him, okay, because the French were, those were a lot of the military attaches, and the clear thinking that this was the moment. Is there uncertainty? Yeah. The experiment called the United States is in the balance here. And these are just a bunch of little dudes going to fight one of the most powerful army in the world. Into the uncertainty marches this self-confidence, humble confidence, and they win the day. Complete surprise attack, okay? That's the key, is that you don't change the uncertainty. You change the mind that you bring into that uncertainty. And my question to you is this, is that are you willing to really redevelop your leadership style? Are you ready? Are you willing to move from a gunslinger to a sniper? Okay? Are you willing to move from an African lion to an American cougar? Or do you want to be right? Or do you want to be effective? Do you want to hold on to the past? Or like George Washington in that painting, do you want to embrace the uncertainty of the future with a powerful mind? You're painting the future with the mind that you bring into the present moment. And out of that, you go, well, how can we change? How can we do this? First of all, if you've just arrived and this is the first time you've been exposed to my work, please take advantage of the free stuff. Get our free book. It's you get to our website, which it's a free ebook. Just ask for the free ebook, and you begin to kind of get more. Look at the articles. I've got 200 videos posted. So people spend hours and hours and hours with those videos, with those articles, and they learn. They learn. Read my book, Mindful Trading. But ultimately, it comes down to, well, something at some moment you have to go from cognitive knowledge to knowledge that changes at the cellular level the way you engage uncertainty. That's taught through our group course and our individual course. Our group course starts pretty darn soon in September, okay? And if you register soon, you're going to get a free gift to get there. And you discover that it's a $200 free gift. But the thing is the reason that I'm offering it is because most people will take this course. They'll wait the last few days before they sign up, and they realize they're way far behind when they show up for the course, because it is a fast-paced course, and you better be ready to rock and roll. So what I want to do is I want to give you as much preparation for that course as possible. The cool thing about it, it meets 5 times over a period of 10 weeks, and it's every other week, and there is a curriculum that's followed, and it moves literally from emotional regulation to mindfulness to the internal dialogue to the empowered elements of the self to the internal struggle and building the mind that trades. It's a really good, cost-effective way of getting the information. The individual course comes with me, a lot of me, 10 sessions with me on Skype. That's the biggest thing. But it's also highly comprehensive and highly personal. And like with the group course, you go to a virtual classroom and you have materials that you're working with. In the individual course, you get a college level graduate course you download and you work with it. It's very powerful. The thing is it's really all about what do you want? To be honest with you, what I've discovered is often just comes down to money. If you really just don't have very much money, the group course is a great course. If you look at it and go, you know something, that individual course is $3,500. You know, I've lost that much. If I could take something that would teach me how to avoid that, it would pay for itself in the first week or two. If you're in that area, like for God's sake, take it that and do it that way. But friends, understand this, the brain that you brought to trading is not going to be the mind that brings success in trading. You're going to have to build that. What you've seen is a way of doing it. It's the way we do it. It's a highly effective way of doing it. And we'd love to teach you. We'd love to teach you. We'd love to be part of the evolution of your trading mind. And I want to thank you. And now, if you have questions, type them in. We have a few minutes. This is the first time I'd ever done this presentation, so I didn't quite know how long it was going to take, and it took a good bit of time. So we haven't got much time, but I can answer a couple. Do you ever get tempted to trade yourself? No, I don't. That's a very good question, though. I like that question. Is that understand my fascination is that I am fascinated by the brain on uncertainty. And what I've got is I have a laboratory with the people that I work with that they're got the brain, its own uncertainty. And what we're doing is we are rebuilding that brain for uncertainty. To be honest with you, I could force myself to trade well for a while, but I'm just not fascinated. I don't have a passion for trading. I'm a psychologist. I have a passion for the brain on psychology. I mean, you talk to me, this is what I talk this stuff all the time. That's what I want to be able to do. Second one, I highly recommend it. Steve you just finished the course. And Steve just finished our course, and he highly recommends it. And thank you, Steve. Thank you very, very much. Let's see. Are there any other questions? Let's look. One thing about it is that our service has a very small little question box. And it's really sometimes hard to, how long does it take to succeed? Boy, what a question. I wish there was an answer to that. I have worked with people. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, okay? And I think it's a good question. I think it deserves an honest answer. I've worked with 2 traders over the last several years who completed my individual course in 2 months. And the last one, Andreas out of the UK, finished it, and then he has just been, we finished, and he's had 6 months, and he's up 45% return on investment in 6 months. Okay, and he is, as you might imagine, very happy because that's annualized out to be a 90%. And he's also was a super student. He worked his can off. So he did that in less than 2 months. I've worked with people who never make it, who it's not the lack of trying, but what happened is that what you discover about this course is that both courses actually, they are totally dependent upon the amount of work you put into it. We are rewiring a brain. I'm not feeding you information that gives you specialized knowledge. We are rewiring the way the brain responds to uncertainty. You know what the numbers in some ways you could say don't really look that good. I would say between 30 and 40% of the people that I work with become consistently profitable traders. You go, wow, that's not very much. And I said, well, that's a lot better than the 95% that don't, or actually the 2%, only the 2% that don't. But it requires a very big commitment in changing a survival-based brain and changing it and moving it into a probability-based mind. And a lot of people just aren't willing to do it. Do you record the group sessions so they can be watched at a later date at the class? Oh, absolutely. And we also send those to you. We work all over the globe, and we're fully not expecting everybody all over the globe to meet at 4:30 on a Thursday afternoon and be there all the time, and so they've got it. No, we record the sessions and we send them to you because we're very clear that there's no way that that's going to happen, and I'm not going to give presentations at 3 o'clock in the morning. So it works. I would like to know the cost of both sides of the training group, and I think you said $3,500 for the one-on-one. Yeah, the group is $1,195, $1,200. It can be broken down into 5 payments of $239 and over the 2-month period, and the $3,500 can be broken down into 3 payments over 2 months. So it's $1,200 a month. Okay, can you deal with the opposite trading problem? Analysis paralysis. Yeah, analysis paralysis is just anxiety. You know, what you're doing is you're producing, you know, the whole key is that if you're focused on analysis, you're not having to deal with the emotions of actually committing to action. So it doesn't, a lot of people have analysis by paralysis by analysis. And it's a matter of going in and you discover you have to be, when you have that, when you see that, you realize, okay, look at what your body's doing, see where the tension's at, see where the breath's at, alter that. It goes to mindfulness. Then you start looking for the beliefs. But more than that, it goes in and having to find your heroic nature and being able to call it forward and going, you know, something, I'm willing to walk into that fear and master it. Okay, this is part. Can you really train the brain for uncertainty? Yeah. After 3 years of losses, and believe me, for small profit, I find myself getting out of good trades too soon. And it takes a huge chunk of my trading profits. Fear is the word. Yeah, you're perfect. You're a perfect prospect for me. Is that can you train it? Yeah. Does it want to be trained? No. Your brain has 6.5 million years worth of programming for controlling environment, controlling outcome, for being right, and for predicting future. It's just, and it does not like vulnerability at all. And you have to train it. But the good news is this: in the same way, we have a very close friend who had a stroke and is having to be taught how to swallow again. And what happens is that they are training the brain to swallow. Now, they may be training the different parts of the brain to take over different parts functions that are no longer working. But the thing is that's where it really helped neurobiologists, is they started seeing people with brain injuries and they were able to retrain brain injury to functioning. The same thing applies with the brain on uncertainty. No, that's not what it's built to do. But if you take a look at what the armed forces does, what they do is they train warriors in chaotic conditions to follow orders and to move through. That's what they do, and they do a very good job doing it. Now, when they come back home, that's a different occasion. But yes, you can do that. Have you noticed some personality types are more prone to fail at trading? Yes, like high IQ has nothing to do with it. What you look at is people who have black and white thinking that have to be right or wrong and cannot handle ambiguity are not going to do well in trading unless they can come to the moment of where they can handle the ambiguity. Okay, because there is a saying that I use in my trading is just do your job. And the thing is you're making a decision with the best information that you have. And the truth is that the answer is ambiguous. You have no idea, but based on the way you know how to trade with your edge, this is the way you make a decision. And ultimately, that's what wins the day, is that you learn a system that you apply to randomness consistently and that has an edge in it. If you get the methodology that already has the edge in it, the key is to build the brain and the mind so that it has a psychological edge that can actually deliver that edge, that method edge. And it's kind of like a race car driver. I can drive my car, okay, and it's an okay car. But if you put me in a Formula One car and expected me to drive at over 200 miles an hour, I'd be dangerous. But at the same time, is those people are trained to have the brain accept speeds that are beyond anything that imaginable. So yeah, the brain can be trained, no doubt about it. Randy, can you repeat what you just said about changing the brain X's into a probability based mindset? Boy, you are talking to the one guy. I am so like state of mind where it comes out, and I have no idea what I said. What you're doing is you have a brain from the African savannas that was built to control environment, to control outcome, to be right. Even if you're wrong, you have to believe you're right, and to be able to predict what's going to happen. That is the survival-based caveman brain. When you bring that brain to trade, and by the way, you can bring that brain to business and stuff like that, and it can be very successful. But when you bring it to trading, you have to recognize that control over outcome in particular is an illusion. Even the sun that's going to rise tomorrow is not a fact. There will be one day, it's highly probable that it's going to be there, but one day it's going to burn out, or one day a galaxy is going to collide with the Milky Way and it's going to be gone. We just don't know when. The thing is that you are getting it to the point where you're going, I need to train, and it's really a lot of desensitization training where you're getting the brain to accept ambiguity, to accept ambiguity, to accept ambiguity. But at the same time as you're getting to accept ambiguity, what you're doing is you are learning how to pull forward certain very specific emotional states that give rise to the mind that engages that moment. And that's the probability mind. Okay, and I hope that's close enough. Do you have to do repetitive exercises daily? Yes, you have to do repetitive exercises daily. Does a concert pianist have to train themselves every day? Yes, they do, or their game goes off. Does a world-class hitter have to take batting practice practically every day? Yes, they do. Do they have a batting coach? Yes, they do. Anything that's a performance where you have to perform in the moment under stress, there are always coaches. They're always going over drill after drill after drill after drill. You see that in football. I'm a big college football fan, my Georgia Dogs. And what you discover is that, they are constantly training. And when they come in August, what you discover is they've already been in training, but then they get super trained. if you take them out of that training and give them too much time off, like at bowl games, they can fall flat on their face. So yeah, once you know how to create the mind for that can embrace uncertainty, you have to maintain it. It will go back to its center. When is your next opening for individual course? Tomorrow. There's always room for one more. That's the best way to describe it. I could tell you it's really exclusive and stuff like that, but the truth is there's always for one more. People graduate. I'm having people graduate. There's stuff being freed up. You just need to have a little bit of flexibility about your time availability. Because I do work over the globe, and so and my wife manages the time zones, and it's complicated, but we work it out. So yeah, now my challenge is to hold on to my water buffalo Prophet after I've caught him. Can you help with that? Yeah. What happens is we don't know why that happens. We know that, if you're saying that I end up making money and then I give all my profits back, generally that's what you're doing is you're allowing euphoria to take over the mind that's just one. It feels so good to make money, okay? But the problem is you cannot allow yourself to feel good as you trade. And that's something I have specific exercises, trainings I have for when you win and when you lose about, basically decompressing that. And yeah, you can go have fun, but man, I'll tell you something, when you come back to the game, the only emotional programs that need to be creating mind when you're trading are discipline and partiality. If you have other emotions, if you feel good, that's not the ones you want. I tried positive affirmations that failed. Of course you did. Positive affirmations make you feel good. Okay, and out of that, oh, they make me feel good. The problem is that the only thing that works well is one that works under pressure. When you get to the PGA tournament, every one of those guys can drive the slop out of the ball. Every one of them can putt. But under the pressure of a real game with enormous amounts of money on the line, can they do it then? That's what you have to learn. Have you noticed cigarette smokers more likely to fail at trading lack of discipline? Well, no. I have no idea. I know that cigarette smoking is basically a nicotine addiction, and nicotine addiction is a narcotic very similar to heroin, and I know that it's being used to basically what you're doing is you're using an external agent to be able to manage anxiety. The nicotine may disrupt the feeling component of the emotion so that you don't feel so anxious, but you still have the belief that drives that emotion back there that's still engaging uncertainty, so that the nicotine is not helping with that. And that's the problem with SSRIs and stuff like that. They alter the feeling, but they don't get at the belief that's driving performance, and that's what you have to get at. Have you worked with traders with ADHD? Yes, I have. What I'll say is you have to make a distinction between ADHD and anxiety, because a lot of the stuff that looks like ADHD is actually anxiety, distractibility. At the same time, as I am a licensed therapist that, believe it or not, spent decades working with at-risk youth with all sorts of diagnoses, particularly ADHD. And the real question is, first is, are you really ADHD? The second, are you properly medicated? If you are you properly dieted if you are? And in ADHD, a lot of them do have problems with longer time frames because they're jumping around, but they can handle much more faster frame trading. So yeah, I've worked with that. It's not easy, but if you're insistent, It can be done. Trading is often compared to driving, but why is it different? You mentioned speed. Is there something else? Well, first of all, when you're driving, what you're doing is that you're not being put into moments of stress all the time. I get in my car and I'm able to drive and it goes on automatic, and most everybody is minding their own business. I'm not driving in Cairo, Egypt, or a couple of places where there are no lanes. They're just out there driving crazily. Is that I consider that trading and driving to be enormously different, because once you learn to drive, your body's doing the driving. Your brain has it on automatic familiarity, and it's just doing fine. Trading is, your brain may be automated, it may be doing some things, but you're constantly in a moment of that uncertainty. In driving, if you were to compare it to driving in a winter storm where the roads are slick and people are sliding off the road, then you'd be closer. If you were describing it driving in a pounding rainstorm, again, you've got skin in the game. You've got something that creates stress, and you have to have risk. And by the way, the three elements is uncertainty, risk, and time. The closer the time is, that's the brain is better to freak out. And that's why day trading is probably the very worst thing that people try to do. I've seen a lot of people move from day trading into swing trading and do a lot better. At the same time, something that's always really nice to close everything out and stuff like that, but you have to get used to those tight time frames that accelerate stress. Is it okay that you feel good each time you followed your plan or system, or should you also avoid feeling good during those times? You can feel great after you finish trading, or if you win and you feel good about having followed your plan, take a break. Take a break, take a walk, take your dog for a walk, go lift some weights, go do something, and celebrate. Because what happens is when you come back to the trading zone, you're looking to build the disciplined, impartial mind again. And you do not want feeling good, because I call feeling good euphoria. Euphoria is part testosterone, risk-taking, and adrenaline. Okay? And so you're looking at it and going, yeah, I can feel good, but I need to manage it. And I need to know that I cannot be taking feeling good into the act of trading. And if you have a banner day, my goodness, go celebrate, have a great time. But when you come back to trading, man, I'll tell you something, that day never happened. It's the same thing like with quarterbacks. Is a quarterback is taught that if he throws an interception, is to forget it. It doesn't want that interception in the back of his head. In the same way, if you throw a touchdown pass, the thing is that it's gone, it's over. Okay? So I think we've got past the questions, friends. I want to thank you. I have had a great time, and you're a great group. I love it when people ask questions that they're thinking and working. It's just the best thing in the world. I just love the questions, and it shows me that you're interested. It shows me that you're trying to evolve your trading. And if I can be helpful to you, if I can help you do that, knock on our door. Okay? And by the way, if you're looking at the individual course, by all means, and you're serious about it, get a free consult. You can talk to me for an hour on Skype, and all you do is you go to the website, you hit free consult, contact us, and Dolores will set us up. And I would much rather have the time to talk to you, get to know you, and for you to get to know me, than just anything else. This recording is going to be available tomorrow on our website. Yeah, this recording will be available on our website. It'll be the second video down tomorrow. We'll render it, and I will have it up tomorrow morning. And we'll send them an email with it. Yeah, and we'll send email to the link. See, Doris tells me what to say and do. There you go. So I thank you very, very much. It has been fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And good trading. Good evening.